Sorry, didn't notice you all. Hey everyone, I'm Joshua Orro, the Mustang Prince, and welcome to Mustang Prince Orro Reports. And this is part 4 of my Halloween marathon of 2015. Before we were ever exposed to the stories by Stephen King, we were exposed to the works of R.L. Stine. And, to be honest, R.L. Stine is one of my favorite horror novelists, next to Edgar Allan Poe or Mary Shelley and Ray Bradbury, who I'll get to next year. Also, in my opinion, Stine's works are more family-friendly horror than, well, most of those guys. But anyway, let's cut to the chase. Out of all the stories that Stine has ever written, mostly everyone believes his most famous book franchise was Goosebumps. Now, I need to give a little backstory. Now, it's going to be hard to say, but okay. I wasn't always into the book franchise when I was little. That is, until I read Calling All Creeps. And then a little while later, I read some more books at my school's library and at my Aunt Debbie's house. She also gave me some more Goosebumps books to read during my spare time. And as I read them, I felt delighted and terrified. But a few of the books were also pretty funny. I also heard that the Goosebumps franchise became a TV show, which I heard was a bit of a hit and miss, with weird special effects, acting that was meh, and some parts that were altered or cut out. There were also board games and video games, and in 2011, I learned from one of my favorite reviewers that there was a Goosebumps movie in production. And that movie just happens to be tonight's subject. Released on October 16th, 2015, the movie is Goosebumps. So, let's get started, shall we? Upset about moving from the big city to a small town, young Zach Cooper finds a silver lining when he meets his beautiful neighbor, Hannah. The teen is surprised that Hannah's mysterious father is R.L. Stine himself, the famous author of the best-selling Goosebumps series. When Zach accidentally unleashes the monsters from the Fantastic Tales, it's up to Stine, his daughter, and Cooper to return the beasts back to the books where they belong. So, what are my thoughts on this haunting franchise? It was terrifyingly awesome. Ever since 4 years ago, when I heard that the movie was in production, it made me wonder what it'd be like. And after seeing the trailers, it got me really pumped to see it. Am I ever glad I did? But in order to explain more information, let's move on to Mustang notes. The first attempt at a Goosebumps film back in 1998 was said to be produced by Tim Burton. Chris Meledandri, the president of Fox Family Films at the time, said, "I think you'll see us tackling a scale of story that would be prohibited to do on a small screen." But the film did not materialize. In 2008, Columbia Pictures acquired the rights to create the Goosebumps movie. Neil Moritz and Deborah Forte, the latter of whom developed the TV series, were chosen to produce the movie. Screenwriting team Scott Alexander and Larry Karadzwitsky were hired as screenwriters and wrote the original script for the film. The duo decided against adapting any one book in the series, feeling the individual books in the series were too short. Thinking of ways to create a universe where all the monsters in the books could live together, They elected to do a fake biographical film where R.L. Stine writes a book and the monsters within it become real. In 2010, Carl Ellsworth was chosen to write the screenplay. On January 14, 2012, my father's birthday exactly, was reported that a new draft of the screenplay would be written by Darren Limk. Limk co-wrote the screenplay for Shrek Forever After and Bryan Singer's Jack the Giant Slayer. In November 2012, Stine expressed pessimism about the prospect of the film, saying that he would believe that a film can be based on his Goosebumps series when he sees it. He mentioned Where the Wild Things Are being adapted into a film almost 50 years after publication. In mid-April 2014, a crew of 6 spent 3 days gathering visual data for the film. In downtown Madison, Georgia, the crew used a theodolite to collect points in three-dimensional space to complete a detailed survey of the city. The visual data was used to create a CGI background of the downtown area. Neil Moritz and Rob Letterman stated that Madison was their first choice for the film after scouting the city. Principal photography on the film began on April 23, 2014, in Candler Park in Atlanta. They were also set to shoot the film in Conyers and Madison. On May 19th, filming was taking place in the streets of Madison, with 480 Goosebumps crew members working in Madison and Morgan County. Principal photography ended on July 16, 2014. A stretch of Dawsonville Highway in Georgia was intermittently closed to film a car traveling up and down multiple bridges for the film. The soundtrack of the film, which featured original music, was composed by former Oingo Boingo lead singer Danny Elfman. Now, I thought the setting of the movie was a nice idea, and the story was a bit interesting in my opinion. The beginning almost felt like something out of Disturbia, but afterwards it becomes a mix of Page Master with a smidge meeting Scooby-Doo 2 with a dash of Jumanji. Also, the grocery store scene almost makes me think of a similar scene from My Bloody Valentine and the Nightmare on Elm Street remakes. But story aside, for me the best part of the movie are the monsters that come from Stine's books. You guys might recognize them from such books like The Werewolf of Swamp Fever, Revenge of the Lawn Gnomes, When the Ghost Dog Howls, A Shocker on Shock Street, The Horror of Chiller House, A Nightmare on Clown Street, The Creepy Creations of Professor Shock, The Haunted Mask, Wanted, The Haunted Mask, Vampire Breath, Night in Terror Tower, Return to Terror Tower, Escape from the Carnival of Horrors, Calling All Creeps, Deep in the Jungle of Doom, Help We Have Strange Powers, My Best Friend is Invisible, The Blob That Ate Everyone, The Creep from the Deep, and Attack of the Graveyard Ghouls. Also, there was another Goosebump reference I noticed before the monsters got loose, and that reference was the Cuckoo Clock of Doom. And now it's time to move on to the cast of this movie. Let's start with the creator of the Goosebumps franchise himself, R.L. Stine, played by Jack Black. Known for such films like Shark Tale, The Muppets, the 2005 King Kong remake, and of course, the Kung Fu Panda films, which is going to get a third film next January. Anyway, while the real R.L. Stine makes a cameo nearing the end of this film as a teacher, Black's performance as Stine is a bit more, different than usual. In the beginning of the film, he acts like the kind of person who doesn't like company around his house. The only reason why is to protect his daughter and make sure his books stay locked. Otherwise, trouble might happen. Also, he keeps to himself because he was a bit of an outcast in his own world. Pretty similar to Tim Burton, though. Our main character, Zach Cooper, is played by Dylan Minnette, who has been in 2 weird Christmas films. Like, for example, The Year Without a Santa Claus live-action remake, and Fred Claus. But, on the bright side, Dylan's gonna make a cameo next month in the new Peanuts movie. Now, Zach is a high school kid who moved to Madison, Delaware from New York City. He's basically how most kids are when they move to a new town. They're mostly nervous and shy, and they like to he likes to poke his nose into other people's business. I mean, I could be wrong, but maybe that's just how I see him. Next we have R.L. Stine's daughter, Hannah, played by Odeya Rush, whom I've never heard of before, and I can't find anything memorable she was ever in. Anyway, in real life, Stine had a son named Matthew, who was born on June 7th, 1980. But despite that fact, Hannah is one of my favorite characters in this movie. She's one of those teenage girls who doesn't like being cooped up at home, and she wants to do things and live life outside. I also like the fact that she hangs out at an abandoned carnival in the woods after dark. And also, she wants to know what the feeling of dancing with someone at a prom is like. But she does have a special secret, which I won't say due to spoilers. Next we have Zach's new friend, Champ, played by Ryan Lee. Wait, Ryan Lee? Nah, just a coincidence. Now, this kid I thought was pretty funny at times, though mostly he's addicted to being a coward. Also, he has silver lining in his teeth, and because of that, he didn't brush his teeth for a whole year. Still, Champ is a really neat, interesting character, though. Next is Slappy, a living dummy from the Night of the Living Dummy books, puppetized by Avery Jones, and voiced by Jack Black. Slappy plays out as the villain for this movie, and compared to how he looked in the TV series, this version not only looks identical to the book cover, but he's also clever and very creepy, especially when he moves quickly to another location through shadows. His plan in this film is very dark, too. Step 1, steal all of R.L. Stine's manuscripts. Step 2, release all the monsters from the books. Step 3, burn the books so they cannot be sucked back in. And Step 4, lead the monsters to attack Madison and go after Stine. As for Jack Black voicing him, well, his voice surprised me. He sounded almost like Hank Azaria, who played Gargamel in the Smurfs movies. I guess some folks have similar voices in the world. Rounding out the cast is Amy Ryan as Zach's mom, Gail Cooper, who becomes the vice principal at Madison High School, and Jillian Bell as Aunt Lorraine Cooper, who develops a crush on R.L. Stine. Now it's time to move on to my final words. Overall, Hotel Transylvania 2, Goosebumps is another great film to see during the Halloween season. It does a great job bringing back memories of R.L. Stine's book franchise while being an exciting monster movie. The story was interesting. There are a few hilarious and creepy scenes. The characters are well developed, and Slappy and the other monsters that come from Stine's stories are just so thrilling. I recommend anyone who is ever a fan of the book franchise to check this movie out. And if I were to ever make another list of Halloween films, this movie would definitely have a spot on it. I give this film the highest rating of 100%. Well, that's it for tonight, everybody. But if you think I'm done talking about R.L. Stine, then you're dead wrong. Join me for my next Halloween blog, where I talk about one of his underrated projects, Mustang Power.
Beware, you're in for a scare.